Do you want some hay? Are you helping me? So it's coming into summer here in Australia and it's about to get very, very hot. In fact, it's really hot today. So I'm moving my rats into the summer enclosure setup, and that includes hay in the bottom of their enclosure. Now the problem is that even when it says that it's dust free, it isn't really, is it? When you look at the back, there's always loads of dust. So I'm going to show you how I ensure it's as dust free as possible to prevent them getting a respiratory infection. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mesh. It's actually something that you put over the top of cakes, but works like a sieve. And I'm just going to move the hay, this is meadow hay, into this sieve. Make sure that all the dust starts coming out the bottom. I use meadow hay because I find that straw is a little bit scratchy, and the hay is softer, but that also means that the dust is finer. And then I can just start to ruffle it through, and you'll already see, look at all of that dust that's coming out, so much. And just keep on shaking it until really not much is coming out. I am now happy with that. So that is the way that I ensure that it's dust free. I have tried washing it before. That was a disaster because it took forever to dry, wouldn't dry in the sun, and was really difficult to dry in the oven. So this is by far the best way that I've found to make sure that it is dust free. And I like to actually do this with all of my beddings, just to make sure that those little bits of dust that I've got in there just escape. Once that's done, I'm just going to transfer that now into this box and do the next bit until I've done it all. Right, let's just see if we can see how much dust. Maybe you can just see that. Of course, it does mean that you end up with all of this dusty stuff, but to be honest, I can just sprinkle that around my plants and then it's not wasted. Nice big box of dust free as possible. Hey, you helping me set up your enclosure? Are you ready to see what we've got? What's this? What's this? The thing I love about this enclosure is it has a nice deep base. So I haven't had to get any like perspex or anything to make it deeper. So on top of that, I'm just going to put a little house in there for them. So just a cardboard box with a little hole in it for them to kind of go inside and hide in. A few other little hides I want to put in here. With this one, it's quite important that it's all the way down to the floor, so that they don't burrow under it and get kind of like stuck under it. So I just have to make sure. There we go. Just want to show you what hoarders my rats are. This section I'm dedicating to some coarse grade cocoa coir. Again, coarse grade cocoa coir, because it is coarse, doesn't contain a lot of dust like the smaller grade cocoa coir, which is a bit more like a soil consistency. And this is nice and spongy and soft as well, so I really like it. Makes a good bit to kind of hide treats in so that they can dig around for them. I like using these coconut shells as little bowls for some of the more wet food that I put in. And I think I'll put one down here as well. Up the top here, I'm just going to put some pillowcases. So when it does get warm, like they've just got different options then. They've got the hay, they've got the cocoa coir, and then they've got the pillowcase that's a bit more snuggly. They've also got their hammocks and their ropes. This rope I just hook around this one, and that way it gives them something to kind of run across and play on. Wood is really important for them to gnaw on so that it keeps their teeth short, as is obviously their hard foods that they have. This basket here I've put some herbs into so that they can use that as a bit of enrichment. So this is basil. I've also got inside the basket some coriander and some parsley. And in the top basket I'm going to put some of these dried vegetables. There's different things, there's parsnips, green beans, there's beetroot, so that again they can just kind of work out how to get them out, and it just keeps things a bit interesting for them. This ball is like a Kong for kind of dogs, so it's basically, you can change the size of the opening here depending on what you've got inside it, and then they have to figure out how to get the food out. So I give them a bowl of water so that they can kind of play in that. They also have their bottle of water here so that they've always got access to clean drinking water. The last thing I'm going to put in is this t-shirt. It's just an old t-shirt that they can snuggle up in if they want to come up the top into kind of more of their blankets and things, which they really do like. So I run the Dyson fan in the summer for them to keep them cool, but if it gets really hot, what I'll do is I can get a cooling mat and I can actually put that underneath the cage so that they're not directly on it and they're not going to eat it and they're not going to eat the gel, but they're still getting the benefit of the cooling mat coming up through the bottom of the cage. Their litter tray I'll put in the back corner because that's always where they seem to go, and this is just a natural paper-based pellet. You can see I've left a few of their droppings in there. That's just so that they know that that's where they've got to go, because otherwise if I take all of that out then they're going to just start going everywhere because they're going to forget that's their litter tray. I put a sheet on top because it protects the enclosure from dust falling into it. You know, it's always flying around the house, even when you're hoovering a lot. And also it gives them a bit more shade and a bit more darkness, and it keeps it cooler. So yeah, they seem to really like that I put that on there. Sometimes they'll actually drag the corners in. As you can see, it's all been ripped up here. And they'll make that into a bit of bedding as well.